Hello. Welcome to this video about POS-Tags. In this video, you will learn everything about the POS-Tags, and we will go over the concept of the POS-Tag, list of universal POS-Tags, explanation of POS-Tags with some examples and tips, information about some important syntactic classes and words, and a quick review of different POS-tagging schemes. The examples will be in English language, however in the final section we will see a tagging scheme for German in order to compare different languages, different tags. Well done, if you are ready, let's get started. So what is a POS-tag? First of all, POS is an acronym, expands as part of speech. A part of speech is a syntactic category in which every word falls into a category according to its function in the sentence. When I say verb, it refers to a syntactic category that captures a certain set of words such as go, went, attend, and so on. If I say went is a verb, that is totally fine. Also, it means went is a member of the syntactic category verb. Let's see a quick example before we go further. As you see, every word in this sentence is labeled with a POS-tag according to its function in the sentence. The algorithms which inputs a sentence and output these labels are called POS-taggers. POS-taggers are statistical algorithms and usually sequence-to-sequence model. That's a long history, and we will see it in actually another playlist. This is the Universal POS-Tags page of Universal Dependencies. We have a dedicated video for the Universal Dependencies, but for now, think Universal Dependencies as a friend who knows a lot about linguistics and fluent in many languages. Looking at the second box, we see a list of tags. The reason this tag set is called universal because more or less most languages have these syntactic categories. In order to make a sentence, you need to name an action, so you need a verb. In order to name persons, countries, and your pet at home, you need proper nouns, and so on. This is a very minimalistic and general set. Looking at the first list, we see some open classes and closed classes listed. POS falls into two broad categories, an open class or a closed class. Closed classes have fixed members, such as prepositions and pronouns. New prepositions and pronouns rarely join a language. On the other hand, open classes are quite open to new words, such as nouns and verbs. Especially by influence of word being more connected, new words such as to Google, iPhone, PlayStation joined vocabulary of many languages around the globe. Now, we will see important classes with some examples. First class is ADG, adjective. Whatever you learned in high school grammar class is totally true. Adjectives describe qualities and some properties of nouns. Here are two example sentences. First example includes the adjective fluffy, and the second sentence includes two adjectives, fluffy and cute, chained together with a conjunction. I generated the figures with displays, by the way. I left the link below the video. A related category is determiners. Determiners also modify the nouns and noun expression just like adjectives, but in a bit different way. Determiners express reference of the noun phrase in context, which means a determiner indicates whether the noun is referring to a definite or indefinite element of the class. Immediate examples. Both A and D are labeled with that tag because A is an indefinite article and D is a definite article. There are certainly more types of determiners though. Let's see more. In the first sentence, that is a demonstrative determiner. In the second sentence, which is an interrogative determiner. Next, we see a relative determiner, which. Next two examples contains two quantity determiners, all and no. This is a closed class. Members of this class are fixed, and also members of this class are usually short strings across the languages, at least the ones I know. Next, we will have a look at adpositions. An adposition can come before or after an expression. English adpositions come before nouns, hence called prepositions. Adpositions indicate temporal or spatial relations, just as in this sentence. To indicates a spatial relation and after indicates a temporal relation. Some examples of this class are on, in, inside, beside, after, by, with, and so on, so on. Members of this class are short strings in many languages. When I want to locate adpositions in a sentence, I usually filter the tokens by the string value, not the POS-Tag. Remember, this is a closed syntactic class. Number of the members is limited and not gonna change in the future. Another closed class is C-conj, and there is a similar class S-conj. Both are classes of conjuncts. A coordinating conjunction is a conjunction that connects words, phrases, and clauses that are coordinates or equals of each other. There are 7 coordinating conjunctions: for, and, nor, but, or, yet, so. See these 2 examples. A subordinating conjunction is a word or phrase that links a dependent clause to an independent clause. See these 2 examples. Then, how to distinguish S-conj and C-conj? Easy peasy. Coordinates should be equals. Each coordinate should be independent from each other. Whereas in C-conj, one clause is a subordinate of the other clause, hence meanings are tied and dependent. Some examples of S-conj are although, after, before, because, how, if, once, since, so that, until, unless, when. Next comes an open class, adverbs. Adverbs qualifies verbs for categories such as time, place, direction, or manner. Adverbs can qualify adjectives as well as other adverbs. Hence, adverbs are qualifiers. In this aspect, they are sort of similar to adjectives. Let's see some examples. In the first sentence, slowly is an adverb because it modifies the verb walked. In the second sentence, second very modifies the verb walked, and the first very modifies the second very, another adverb. In the third sentence, very modifies an adjective, cute. Some certain words also classified as adverbs. We will come to that soon. Now comes a bombshell class, the verb. A verb is name of an action. Verb is the syntactic class of words that typically signal events and actions. Immediate examples. Okay, there are 2 more sorts of verbs called modal verbs and auxiliary verbs, which are both helper verbs but not the main verb. A modal verb is a type of verb that contextually indicates a modality, such as likelihood, ability, permission, request, capacity, suggestion, obligation, or advice. Modal verbs always accompany the base form of another verb having semantic content. Some examples are can, could, may, might, must, shall, should, will, would. Auxiliary verbs are forms of be, have, do, and get. Let's see the examples. Aux is the tag for the modals and auxiliaries, which is a subset of the verbs. Verb is an open class. Social media, as we said before, introduced a good number of new verbs, such as to Google, to tweet, to twerk, and so on. Another bombshell class is noun. Nouns are a part of speech typically denoting a person, place, thing, animal, or idea, such as girl, cat, freedom, or air. Another related POS-Tag is propen, which means a proper noun. A proper noun is a noun that is the name of a specific individual, place, or object such as Mary, London, or Tower of London. Here are the examples. Noun is an open class. Indeed, everyday entity names such as iPhone, Google, Snapchat and so on gets into languages around the globe, just like the verbs. A related category is pronoun. Pronoun is a bit tricky class indeed. Pronouns are words that substitute for nouns or noun phrases, whose meaning is recoverable from the context. Pronouns under this definition function just like nouns. Pronouns come in different categories too: personal pronouns, reflexive pronouns, interrogative, relative, indefinite, demonstrative, and possessive pronouns. See the examples. This is a closed class too. Number of pronoun words are indeed limited. Okay, putting all the above together, we will see a detail of the syntax. We will classify VH words and examine the possible POS-Tags that VH words can admit. VH words such as who, what, which can admit three tags: that, pronoun, and adv. We already saw the determiner usage, but let's see it again. As you see, a noun comes after the determiner in this case, because determiners are just like adjectives. They qualify nouns, so there should be a noun after the determiner. Let's see the pronouns next. Pronouns replace nouns. Hence, in the second group of sentences, all VH words are pronouns. Okay, now we come to the adverbial usage. ADV tag is given to VH words when they connect subsentences. Here are the examples. This is a small class and called as pronominal adverbs. Now, we revisit the beginning of this video. We said universal dependencies is a friend who knows quite a lot about linguistics. That's right, and there is a reason UD is called universal, because the above classes applies to almost every language. Really universal. Think about word again. Every language needs to express the actions and has the notion of the verb. Same for the nouns, adjectives and adverbs. Hence the tags we have seen so far are really universal and applies to almost all languages. Still, there are differences between each language, and sometimes we want to express a language's morphological and syntactic features in a detailed way. At that point comes the specialized POS systems. For an example, English has Bank tags. We see that the number of tags is much more lengthy and classes are much more refined. For example, items 14 and 15 refers to proper nouns, but singular and plural nouns are distinguished. 8, 9, 21, 22 are devoted to superlative and comparative forms of adverbs and adjectives. Also, verb has a long list items from number 28 to 32. We see the past, present, and gerund forms of verbs. From number 33 to 36, we see the VH words in detail. Another example is Spanish. As I said before, language-focused tag systems are different for each language. Check out this tag set for Spanish. I link the source GitHub page below. We see that text for verb is much longer than Bank tags. This is quite natural because Spanish has an extra tense, which is future tense. Also, Spanish is an inflected language, hence semantics of conditioning, for an example, is stated in the verb via a suffix. Hence, POS-Tags for conditional inflected verbs is present in this tag set. We covered the theory, so let's shoot some examples. We will make the examples with NLTK and spaCy. In my everyday production, I prefer spaCy usually, but if you want, of course, you can do NLTK as well. Okay, I will go on to the demo page of NLTK. Please see the link below. I will just use the example sentence they give. Here are the tags. As you see, these are the Bank tags. I will make spaCy example from my Python shell. Here is how I do. First, I import spaCy, then I load a pre-trained language model and core WebMD. Details of space code is in my other playlist, Space Quickies, if you want to check out. Okay, then I run the pre-trained model over my example sentence. Then for each token in the sentence, I print the tag, which is the UD tag, and POS, which is refined POS tag of the PTB. This concludes the POS tag section. I hope you enjoyed it. Next is another syntactic concept, which is dependency tags. Keep on watching. See you at the next video.